All right, this is Select versus Empire in the championship game. Go over a few things we need to work on for regionals. So we've had a punt in the air, and what I need everyone to do now is, as the ball's in the air, if you can't receive it short, if you've got a lot of players on you, know where to kick the ball or receive the ball to one of your teammates. So as the ball comes down, if Adrian can see, she just kicks it up here to the defense. If they can find a player when they receive the ball and know where the players are, they can receive it and kick it out to an open player or touch it to an open player if they're being contested right on top of each other. So then we did a lot of this during the game. We get the ball up here in this middle third, attacking third, and it's like we've made 2 or 3 passes, and all of a sudden we have to kick it forward. We've got to go score, and we just kick it inside to the defender stand here instead of making one more pass. If Adrian would have called for the ball on a run and she would have passed it here and then attacked and then let somebody take her, then a pass to Reagan, it's so much easier than trying to hit a ball 30, 40 yards and have 2 players on the inside of this player. So it's occasionally that you look over there and somebody's wide open on the far side. You can do that. But right now we need to make, when they drop players this deep, we've got all this space that we've got to fill in and attack and then pass out wide. And the same thing here, when they pop the ball up in the air, be aware as the ball's coming down, instead of just receiving it or trying to kick it to yourself, we're going to have an open player here. Just receive it to the open player. Just be aware where everybody is on the field as you're getting ready to receive this ball. And remember, wings stay up high. We don't want to be back in here. There's no reason to be back in here. They've got 6 players back to cover on the defense, and if we win the ball, we've got to have somebody up here to hold the ball or to start down the line and to relieve pressure off of this backfield. And this was a bad series of events that about cost the tournament. We have a bad touch there, and then we have a lunge here, and the fullbacks were not tucked in, so it left the middle wide open. And luckily, and then once they broke free, the goalie stays on the line and doesn't come out and decrease line. It's just luckily the player she tried at our goalie. So here we get the ball, and again we talk about being in the middle third of the field. We got to carry and make one more pass instead of trying to send the ball through all these players. We either have to make the pass on the ground through the opening, or in this situation, the striker needs to be sprinting. If we're going to do this, they have to see this occurring, and they have to sprint as hard as they can because they've rested all this time waiting for the ball to come up here. They've got to sprint through that opening if we're going to lay that ball up there. So this goes to nobody. This player didn't sprint, and this was a bad pass because they didn't sprint. And I just wanted to go over holding midfielders. So these two and Olivia, you got to know the ball's here. We got to be behind the ball, and we have to be close to each other. I'd like to see them push back a little bit farther from this action, and she might even be able to cover her. Right now she's not covering anybody, but we've got to be behind the ball and maintain the spacing behind the ball. Okay, now we've got the ball up high. We have to, as soon as we receive the ball, what do we have? You have to look up and see how many defenders. Looks like 3 and 1. So we're not ready to go try to score. We've got to hold this ball and let our other players get up here in position to score. If you look up and we have Ryland. Yeah, Ryland's right there. If when she looked up and Ryland's making a really fast run in front of this player, yes, we would lay this ball off and we would have one-on-one with the goalie. But if these players are tucked in and she's not making that run down through there, we got to hold the ball and find other players to allow us to move up the field instead of just kicking it forward. You all did a lot of kicking forward during the game. So right here again, we're just sending the balls up and back, up and back. When we win the ball back, we have to spread out and make 2 or 3 passes. If you'll make 2 or 3 passes to each other, then you're going to get a chance to go score. Right now, we're just kicking the ball back and forth. So you have to receive these long balls in your chest, or if you know where other players are, you can head it back or receive it back to one of your teammates. So also we got to work on when we pass hard passes to each other up on top, a lot of these balls are being bounced back 10 yards or whatever. They have to be received softer. And then really try to work on hitting them on their outside unless they're making inside runs. But we're constantly kicking the ball to where we want them to go. I want you to go run through here. Kick it to them, let them decide while you're moving up, and maybe they can beat it outside or inside or take a different touch. And let's work the ball up instead of just forcing our players to kick through here and then making them run all these distances. So I know we want to get back and play this defense. You all have learned that, but whoever plays these wing positions, if you get down here and we win the ball now, you now have to sprint all this distance back up here, and then you get tired, and you really got to cover backside. These two players, when we get into finishing third down here, you've got to cover the post, and if you're too tired from making this run here, then we're not getting finishing shots at the end. We're not scoring that 1 or 2 goals to win tournaments. See, if we just stayed up here, we've been challenging for this ball. The ball gets through. We might have had it. I know it's called out of bounds over here, but that could have happened, and we'd be going down here to try to score now. So we've got to be smart players and not just fly up the field every time we get the ball. So receive it, which is good receiving, and then look up and see, do we have players available? And if not, we've got to hold on to this ball and wait for our players to find us. We can start at the field, but don't just fly into 1-on-3 players. So when you receive the ball, remember, know where your players are. And always, we're right here. We need to check our shoulder and see what's back here. I think we have Josie standing here wide open, which would take just a little touch here. And I think we're trying to bring the ball into here. And we're trying to send it all the way. We're trying to make long passes, harder passes, when we've got these little passes on the inside that we can just keep making and getting the ball up the field. And we've got to work on these direct kicks. We've got 3 or 4 during the game, and I don't think we had a chance on any of them. She's going to hit this ball, and it should land in here. And we are standing and watching, and we're running underneath the ball and trying to score. That is so difficult. We have to have 2 or 3 players over here, and when they see her running in, they're running this way, and then as soon as she kicks the ball, we sprint toward this post. And so as we're running, the ball's coming this way, we're running into it at an angle, and we can see the ball instead of trying to run underneath it and try to head it or kick it or whatever. And somebody needs to be running this way in case she mishits it or something. We're running this way and we're turning, and we can still see the ball and try to get some body part on it to score. But we're just standing here, and we're not having any chances on these kicks. We're not moving, and then by the time it's kicked, that girl touches it. You've got to work on that. All right. When you receive the ball, check and make sure. No, oh yeah, that's for Adrian. Know where this player's coming. Did you all talk to her? Did she know she was coming in behind her? She should have turned one way or the other away from where she was coming, and then it would have been wide open. So make sure, Maya, we got one here, that you get this foot planted on this far post and you get your foot going at the far post and get your body turned, because you had 3 or 4 opportunities to take shots or to get crosses in, and you're missing near post a lot. So that one flew to the right. Near post. And then there was one more in the overtime that was right down on the line and hit right to the goalie. If he got it to the 18, we had a chance to score there. So really try to cut it back. Work on that. Now this is a great cross. I think that Josie did that. The problem was we had our striker guarding their best players, so we were one short on top. So our striker crossed the ball. We have no center midfielder, so the only players that could get this was left half or right half, wherever they are. Or since we were covering their best player, one of our holding midfielders was probably can go up and attack a little bit more, but they've got to get back. So these two were in the correct position, holding midfielders. And in regionals, they've got to be more active and got to run more. I told Adrian to rest on defense, and if you can go up and then you can get back, you're feeling good, you go up and you get back. If not, we're going to have to sub, because we've got to have some attacking up here. So she's got to come up and be this person up here. But this is exactly the kind of ball you want to come through here, with the center mid standing right here. That ball cannot bounce there without one of these players. You've got to want the ball. You've got to get in here and hit this ball. We're watching too much. You're reacting instead of making something happen. And here again, hit the forward button. Here again, pass to your players or close to where your players are, we're seeing this gap and we're saying go run. When they're getting barely beat, lay it off here instead of way up into here. Give this player a chance to decide what they want to do. They may want to drop it, they may want to take another touch around, and it allows you to then, everybody's going to pull over here to come into this middle and they can get it back to you. But we're throwing this ball hard and so far up that we're running these side players to death. So we've been working on crosses. Look at this. We throw the ball in to our holding midfielder. They cross it back to the other holding midfielder. And we get an open shot. Just lean forward and keep that down. Again, we could have passed to the player, but we're passing, just kicking the ball up forward, thinking we're doing a good thing, go get the ball. No, you need to pass the ball to your players on the side and then let them do something. I understand if you got this over top